What do I have to do to scale my coaching business? Let's cut the bullshit and let me tell you. You know what you have to do to scale your coaching business if you're in this video. It's a common sense. The thing that you have to do is activity that brings you closer to the ultimate goal. Scaling means getting more clients. So your ultimate goal is more sales. Because a business without sales is just like a time-wasting hobby. So the one thing you have to do to scale your business is sales. This means contacting potential clients, maybe talking with them over the phone, or creating content that generates traffic so you can have more opportunities to connect with your ideal clients. But you got the idea. The one thing you should focus on, sales. It's common sense, but common sense is not a common practice. That is the problem here. But now the question is why I can't do the work. I know what I have to do. That's obvious, but why I don't do it? It is because of resistance. You feel some sort of resistance towards doing the work. Probably you think doing the work is painful. It is actually painful. And pain is when effort meets resistance. So resistance is the one thing that is stopping you from doing the activities you know you have to do. Resistance can come in many different forms. Resistance can be fear of being judged, fear of missing out. Resistance can be fear of rejection. Resistance can also be fear of success. Yeah, fear of success. Let me explain. I had this in me and I still have it in some form, this resistance. Whenever I sign new clients, I fear how well I will be able to deliver them results. And this is a fear of success. I succeed, I get new clients, but subconsciously I have this fear in me that I won't be able to do a good job delivering them results. And fear of success can manifest in different form in your life. This was just one example. You have resistance because maybe you have fear of being judged. You don't want to be seen bad in front of others. That's why you don't create content, an activity that generates traffic. That's why you are not messaging people and contacting your potential clients. Activity that generates calls. You have fear that is stopping you. Maybe you have fear of rejection. We all have fear of rejection. We fear being rejected by others. We fear how we would be perceived in their eyes. And because of that, we don't do the work. The problem here, why you don't do the work, is because of resistance. As I mentioned, resistance manifests in different forms. The first step towards solving a problem is to be aware of the problem itself. Because if you don't know you have the problem, how else you start solving it? The first step, be aware of the problem. Then you can look for different solutions, but this is a deep psychological reasoning why you have such a resistance in yourself. That is a topic for another video, but I just want you to get the idea. You don't do the work because of resistance. You know that. There is some resistance, that's why I don't do the work, that's why I don't do sales, that's why my business is not growing. But how can I love the work? How can I love the work? How can I do the work so my business can grow? You have to do the work. That's it. The only tool you have in order to beat resistance is work. To go from point A to point B, you have to become a person who is worthy of having such results. And the only tool that this person has is work. But again, you might be confused. Oh, okay, cool. I have to do the work, but I don't want to do the work. Like, why is that? I'll explain you with this strange syndrome, the Stockholm Syndrome. If you don't know what the Stockholm Syndrome is, it is an experiment that was made in 1917. I don't know the exact year, but it was an experiment that was done in Stockholm. So what is this experiment and what it has to do with this video and the work? Let me explain you what is the Stockholm Syndrome. There was people that were kidnapped and they stayed with the kidnappers for 3, 5, 6, 10 months. All of these people had some sort of negative experience with a kidnapper, some sort of physical pain, and they stayed with them for a certain period of time. But then all of them got rescued after a certain period of time, and they returned these people to their family. Yeah, cool, happy end of the story. But no, not yet. When all of these people that were kidnapped were with their family for 1, 2, 3 weeks, maybe a month, in this period, all of them felt unhappy and all of them wanted to go back to the kidnappers. Even though these kidnappers caused them some sort of physical damage, maybe mental damage, psychological damage, even though they damaged themselves in some way, they kidnapped them, all of them wanted to come back. Why is that? Why we as humans are such a strange species and crazy in some way? It is because they fall in love with the kidnapper. But how? Isn't it strange? It's not. It's normal human condition. You can search for this experiment in Google. By knowing this experiment and what was the conclusion of it, we can get a few takeaways of it. And the first takeaway is that these people fell in love with the kidnappers because of familiarity. They were the only person they saw throughout a certain period of time, no one else. So they got familiar, and because they got familiar, they fall in love with them. But how can we apply this in our coaching business when it comes to scaling? As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you know what you have to do to scale your business, but you don't do that because you don't want to do the work. The work is painful. Now it's time to fall in love with the work. How do we fall in love with the work? Repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. You have to do the work. You have to force yourself even though there is some resistance in the beginning. For 1 month, 2 months, maybe an year. But you have to force yourself for a certain period of time until you fall in love with the work. You will fall in love with the work eventually because of repetition. Because you'll get used to that. And the only tool you have here, the only tool you have is to actually do the work. Again, it is a common sense, but not a common practice. That was the whole idea of this video, is to make you aware. You know what you have to do. It is a common sense, but it's not a common practice. So it's time to break the chain. Stop this video. Don't even subscribe. Don't even like this video. Stop. Whatever sort of resistance you feel, fight against this resistance and go do the work. A work that removes the needle in your business. But of course, if you're curious to know how I can help you scaling your business, you can click the first link in the description. It is a full transparent overview of how I help others. It is a funnel where I pitch you and I try to sell you the idea to book the call, but there is no high pressure in it. If you like what we do, you can potentially schedule a demo call. If not, I'm cool with that. I hope this video was actually helpful and valuable to you. Do the work for as long as it takes until you fall in love with it, and then you easily do the work so you can grow your business.